So last time we checked out the Morefine PC, I was seriously impressed. 64 watts, 74 watts, now pulled from the socket. And this time they've upped the specs. So I'm curious to see how good is this mini PC. Let's go.
Looking for a cheap way to license your Windows? Check out Hookeys through the links in the video description. Make sure to use the code TN20 to get a 30% off. Paste the license to the activation settings and you're all done. This license is for Windows 10, but you can upgrade it to Windows 11 for free. They also offer Microsoft Office 19 license. Use the same code TN20 to get a 30% off. Check out hookeys.com in the video description below.
Come for the future. Unlimited innovation. Made in China. Ryzen 6900hx. And that's a good sign. Now it's got a bit knocked during the delivery here. Okay. There's a fan underneath it now as well. I'm not sure if there's one on the top. AMD and Morefine. Very interesting. Looks like we've got a Thunderbolt port now in the front there. This power brick is about 120, 130 watts. We've got a SATA cable for a 2.5-inch drive that can go inside the PC, VESA mount, and the HDMI cable. So in the front, we've got a power button. When it's on, apparently it goes blue. 2 USB ports, both 10 gigabits port, and then this one looks like a Thunderbolt port, so maybe USB 4 Thunderbolt. On AMD, we don't usually see Thunderbolt, so maybe this is USB 4. Okay, looks like it's already turning on. Voila, the PC's on. That's the interesting thing. It didn't ask any of the setups. That's interesting. And on the back of the I/O, we've got 4 USB ports. I think some of them are a bit faster than the other ones. One of them is blue, so maybe this is 5 gigabits. The other ones are USB 2.0. 1 HDMI, 1 display port, and then 2 Ethernet connectors. I'm wondering if one of them is 10 gigabits. I mean, that would be crazy. This is headphone jack. Maybe this is a mic jack as well. Maybe not. So when we're looking at the specs here, we can see that this is the Ryzen 9 6900hx CPU. 8 cores, 16 threads, but it is a laptop kind of CPU. There's 32 gigs of RAM installed, and this is DDR5, as you can see, 4800 megahertz. And for the GPU, we've got probably the integrated graphics from the 6900hx because there's only 512 megabytes dedicated GPU memory. So last time I was seriously impressed how much power it pushed through its CPU. And that's why I'm excited about this model to see what have they done this far. So far we can see that the package power, we have hit 28 watts. We're pulling about 20 watts right now. We are already 76 degrees, 66 degrees. What is going on there? That's quite high temperature. So 10-minute test, go. 60 watts. Okay, and we are 90 degrees pretty much instantly. 56, 55 watts, 53 watts. I mean, this is big chassis. Like, this is roughly about the size of the Mac Mini M1 kind of chassis. Maybe slightly thicker, but are we thermal throttling? Now, interestingly, if you remember the Minis Forum UM690, which had the same CPU inside, then these guys had a smaller PC, roughly about the same size, maybe slightly smaller, I think, and they were pushing 64 watts through, and some of the cores were almost 5 gigahertz there, which was insane. Here we see 4.8 maximum, and the score is only 11,000 points. If you remember, the Minis Forum UM690 got roughly about 13,000 points. Let me do a single test to see how good this is. Instantly 90 degrees, you see. 3.66 gigahertz. But looking at that, we've got Wi-Fi 6E here, MediaTek Wi-Fi 6E, and then we've also got 2.5 gigabit Ethernet controllers, which is quite nice. So you can use this as like your ingest station or something like that. Still 90.3 degrees, and we got 10,719 points now. But look at that, the CPU is not going down. Look at this. Why is the CPU still at 90 degrees? What the heck is going on? Still the same. Very interesting. Last time we did find a power limit on the BIOS or PBO. So let's have a look if we still have a PBO in the BIOS. Here we are. AMD PBO. So looks like there was no PBO this time on BIOS. So in order to open this up, you've got two screws in the back there, which let's undo, see, I think that would get us access to the back panel. And then the top comes off. I mean, this is a good NVMe drive in there. This is Crucial P3 Plus. That's fantastic news. And we've got a Crucial RAM here as well. So they've made obviously a deal with Crucial to get, you know, bulk items here, which is interesting. Underneath, when you look underneath these legs, there is some more screw holes, which is actually a bit of a nightmare. Why can't we put screws not underneath your feet? And then the bottom comes off and you've got an easy access to the cooler. Okay, so now we don't actually need to get the cooler out from the box because you've got access on both sides of the PC here, as you can see. We've got the cooler, there's another NVMe slot here. There's one on this side, your RAM and all that is on that side. So far, all the screws are exactly the same, which is good news. Interestingly, you've got like a blower style cooler here. Intake from the bottom and then blows out from just one side. So you could actually have the PC just like that on that side as well. It shouldn't affect thermal performance because you can still get the air in from the sides and then out from the top. And that fan has a normal PWM connector here. We will have to take this tape off and then the fan comes off. So interestingly, if you want to get access to the thermal paste of this, you don't actually access this on this side or from the fan side, but from the other side. So if you're looking at the thermal paste application, the coverage is quite all right, but it looks like the thermal paste has kind of gone dry and bitty. Let's clean the die up here as well. Yeah, it looks completely dry on the die. So perhaps the thermal paste application wasn't very, very good. Whoa, that was quite a bit alcohol. I'm absolutely caking it in, as you can see over there. All on the sides of the frame as well. Spread it out a little bit, making sure that the whole die is covered and a lot more as well. Alrighty, let's put this back in there. Okay, I've tightened these screws a bit more as well. Well, let's see if we've made any difference here now then. New thermal paste application is on. We are 74 degrees still, and we're only pulling 25 watts. Let's see if we can get any more wattage out, any better scores than before. 4.415, 4.1, 3.9, still 64 watts maximum. I mean, we're pulling about 4 watts more, and it's on 54 watts right now. And look at that, we're not going to 90 degrees right now. 83 degrees. 85, we're still 3.9 gigahertz. Remember previously we were about 3.7, so we're still higher than before. 3.9, still pushing 54 watts through. 89 watts, and look at that, 1200 points. That's much, much more than before. I think it's the new GPU coming. Oh, this is the TUF 7900 XT. Look at that. So that is the odd thing. There is no fan curve adjustments in the BIOS, and you can't adjust the fans. Even though the fan can go louder, it's somehow by default tuned down so that it's going to be quiet, but it's not actually adequate to cool the PC. So in terms of the power management and thermals of this PC, I'm actually disappointed, Morefine. Last time you did a great job and we were able to push BBO through and everything. This time, not so impressive. In fact, last time we were getting similar results. I'm just looking at the last Morefine test we did with the last generation, and look at that, 12,847 points, which is actually not less than this one. So Morefine, actually, I am seriously disappointed in this PC. Like, what exactly do we get extra for this one instead of the last year's model? In fact, if you're thinking about buying something, go with the last model with the 5900hx. Yeah, we might have a slightly, lower single core performance, but the multi-core performance is going to be the same, and the price difference, it's not worth it. So Morefine, It's not perfect and we need to fix some things. But hey, if you want to fix yourself the best bang for buck creator PC, then check out the links in the description below where you can find the best bang for buck PC build guide for you. Whatever budget you have, there's a PC build for you there. You can just pick the budget that's closest to your, liking, adjust it. I'll explain everything there. There's build guides, setup guides, everything there. Check them out down below. I will leave this one in the description below as well as the last year's model, because I think the last year's model is the one that you should be actually buying because it makes much more sense. Okay, thanks guys for watching. Bye-bye. Because literally, thermal paste application, quite bad. Performance, not much improved, but the price has improved, so,